Happening right now on Sports Extra, the Falcons front office, it is set. We're going to break down the hire of Ian Cunningham and our biggest takeaways from Kevin Stefanski's opening press conference with the Falcons. Plus, the NBA trade deadline, it is this week, believe it or not. Will the Hawks actually make any moves? And baseball, it is almost back. What should we expect from Brave spring training this year?
It's going to be really interesting to see the stance that the owners take after this season. Be interested to see, whether it's a coin flip on whether we have spring training next year.
All right, plus we're getting you ready for the Winter Olympics. How much do you actually know about the history of the Olympic Games? We're going to find out. Join us. Sports Extra starts right now. Hello, everybody. Our final Sports Extra for a couple of weeks, which makes me really sad. And we love to go out with a bang, which means two of our best guests we've ever had. They're in the house right now. We're going to start on the far side. Caleb Johnson from 92.9 The Game. Enjoying a little bit of snow this weekend?
A little bit. I'm happy to be indoors and warm at the moment.
Same. Preach. I am happy to be warm. Outside is freezing. It is awful. And we have not hometown, but home team Brandon Leak right next to me from 680 The Fan.
I appreciate that, and I always appreciate you coming in for that appreciation, so there's no other confusion. This is going to be for you, Maria.
Give it to me.
From me to you. I have more work to do. You can help me continue to do good deeds, but I need help. I need to do more work so people don't confuse my name. So there you go. From me to you, I appreciate the good work you do in helping us come on here and express our views and opinions from us to you from 680 The Fan.
We have to get Caleb wearing this as well.
I didn't know I was supposed to bring gifts, apparently. Is show and tell.
I'll get him a wristband.
Yeah, okay, you get a wristband. I don't know how 92.9 and 680 feel about that. I'm not trying to start anything, you guys. But I love that you gave me this, and I love the fact that we are all tied up with all things Falcons. This was the most ridiculous January of my life when it comes to a news cycle. Y'all know you're probably exhausted from it as well. Finally, we have a general manager in the building. Ian Cunningham, officially introduced and hired by the Falcons. He will be officially introduced this week. 18 years of NFL experience for Ian. Home team, how does he fit with the Falcons organization?
I think it's a good fit. You want people who have experience. You want people who know good talent, and you want people that have winning on their resume, and he fits all of those boxes if you want to check them. He's been in the Eagles organization, championship. He has been in the Ravens organization, championship. And now he comes from Chicago, where they had a really good opportunity to turn their franchise around with some high draft picks. And what do? They hit on the tight end, they hit on the quarterback, they hit on the wide receiver, they hit on the coach. So it looks like he has a good eye for talent. And I think all of those things, with the merging of Matt Ryan and Kevin Stefanski, is a perfect opportunity for the Falcons to get things right.
Kind of felt like it was Ian's job all along, Caleb, right? I mean, from the very beginning, he was kind of pegged as one of the favorites. His relationship with Matt Ryan runs through Ryan Poles, which is one of Matt Ryan's best friends, and his former boss in Chicago. Why do you feel like Ian was kind of always a fit here?
I felt like his background, if you want to go all the way back to his grandfather, who is associated with the city because of what he did with the '96 Atlanta Olympics, there's just so many different parts of his previous roles in the scouting departments of various teams that he has excelled in. And I think it's this latest stop. It's the fact that he was a part of this Bears organization who had been bad for so long. And to see them have some hope and some promise of what things look like in the future is just a huge reason to bring in this guy. But I also appreciate the fact that Matt Ryan and this ownership group decided to take their time to vet everyone, even though we would have liked it to happen maybe a little bit faster. Yeah. Also, shout out to all of the communication staff and everyone who's been setting up these press conferences, because it's like one after another. Every week there's a new one.
We've had 10 press conferences. Not really, I'm exaggerating, but we've had so many press conferences.
One more to go.
One more to go on Tuesday. So tune in for Ian Cunningham. Hopefully no more in the future. We're over it. No, but seriously, welcome to Atlanta, everyone. It's cool to get to know these new faces. And we got to know Kevin Stefanski a little bit better. However, I will tell you, I think he's going to play things a little bit close to the vest. Just a guess based on that opening press conference. It's not a bad thing to have a head coach be in that scenario, but we're going to go through some of our biggest takeaways from Kevin's opening press conference. Home team, what was yours?
That he will answer questions, but they will be brief. And you know what? I think based on what's gone on the last 8 years, I don't think most Falcon fans are really really looking for a golden nugget from their coach at the microphone. They want to see wins. And he comes in with baggage already. Some of it his with the offenses that have been in Cleveland 31st and 32nd the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But baggage from his predecessors who did not show any traction once they got here. So if he wins games, the biggest thing is he is not coming here to call plays. Tommy Rees, his offensive coordinator, will be calling plays, and that will tell the tale early if there is synergy between Tommy Rees, Kevin Stefanski, and hopefully Michael Penix Jr., or if that is not the answer and what happens if that is not the solution.
Which we know Kevin Stefanski has history in calling plays, obviously, but maybe he figured out once he relinquished those play calling duties to Tommy last year, hey, it's better if I just focus on being the head coach. Maybe that worked for him, and so maybe it works.
And I
in
like
Atlanta.
if there's an issue, if Tommy Rees doesn't work, he can commandeer the headsets. If Tommy Rees is phenomenal and a couple of years from now he's off to be a head coach somewhere, he can commandeer the headsets. There will be continuity and a guy who can make an ultimate decision with the offense, which is what we all have been waiting for with Bijan Robinson and with Kyle Pitts and with Drake London to finally flourish.
And I think that they will finally flourish under so many different offensive staff members who we will get into that have a lot of experience in the National Football League. But Caleb, you listened to him as well. What was your biggest takeaway?
I think it was just the simple fact of he's learned from his mistakes. Like, he has not been a perfect head coach. It's the reason why he was available for the Falcons to be able to hire. I didn't need him to win the press conference. I don't need him to be a Liam Cohen or Nick Sirianni or anything like that. Like, if he's perfectly boring in front of the microphone, it makes our jobs maybe a little bit more difficult. But ultimately, if he's winning football games, that's all the fans care about. And what I think I've seen from him is him take bad situations and be able to find success, whether it was Joe Flacco and, the early kind of late days of Baker Mayfield, being able to maneuver those things and to find success, I think is something that he can bring to this organization and learn from his mistakes.
I think, go ahead.
Two-time coach of the year when he had quarterback play that was sufficient. So with the bad that went on in Cleveland, there was some good that we hopefully will see early on in his coaching career if we have a good mix with the quarterback, the coach, and the offensive coordinator.
13 quarterbacks in his time with the Cleveland Browns. That is a lot of different quarterbacks. Here's my biggest takeaway, and it has to do with the quarterbacks and a little bit of what Hometeam was actually mentioning. I think that he's going to play his cards really close to the vest here when it comes to the quarterbacks. I don't think he said a whole lot. I know a lot of people want to say, oh, he's really high on Michael Penix Jr. I have no doubt that he actually really likes him as a quarterback, but he didn't say a whole lot to make us think that that's actually the case. And that's smart because you don't know when he's going to come back. I know that Michael has said he hopes to be ready by the beginning of the season, and we're all hopeful for the same thing, but who knows what happens with Kirk Cousins? Who knows what happens with Michael Penix Jr.? Kevin is very smart to understand that if I say too much and put everything out there, Michael Penix Jr. is our future, he is our quarterback, and then it doesn't work out, well, he's already in the deep end of a pool and can't get out. And so I think it is important that he does keep his cards close to the vest in this instance. He played it smart. I have a feeling that's going to be how he does a lot of things here moving forward. I want to skip ahead to some recent news that we learned today. Raheem Morris landing on his feet, getting a job. We knew this was going to be a possibility for him. We knew he was going to land somewhere, and he is reunited with an old buddy, Kyle Shanahan, the third time that they've been together on a different staff. He's going to be the defensive coordinator there in San Francisco with the 49ers. Caleb, what do you think about this?
Good for him. Honestly, you hope for the best for him in his future endeavors, except when the fact that the Falcons, will play the Niners in the future. I think this is just one where clearly what Raheem was good at in the past and what worked with his previous stuff before he came to the Falcons, coaching up the defensive side of the ball with the Rams. I think, ultimately what he left behind in Atlanta makes you feel really good about having Jeff Ulbrich running this defense moving forward. Yeah. You just, you kind of tip your cap and best of luck to you, bud.
Some people are just better as coordinators. Yeah. Romeo Crennel, you look at Wade Phillips, there are some masterminds on one side of the ball, and Raheem Morris had an ample opportunity. He just could not fix all of the problems that needed to be fixed as head coach. So I wish him best of luck. A guy who keeps finding ways to go to the playoffs and to Super Bowls wants him, so that shows that he does have talent and respect for what he brings around the NFL.
Wishing Raul the best of luck as always. And another former Falcons head coach moving to college. Arthur Smith gets the offensive coordinator job at Ohio State. Just want to throw that out there. Let's talk Super Bowl since it's next Sunday, and you will not see our smiling faces here on 11 Alive that evening. We need to give you our predictions, and we'll do it very fast. Home team?
Seahawks 31, the Patriots 17. I think what you've seen from the Patriots is great coaching and good quarterback play, but the more physical, dominant team and better at every position is the Seahawks, and I think they roll to another Super Bowl.
Caleb, quick for you.
I think 24-20 in favor of the Patriots. Woo! This has just been an organization that has had excellence. I think when they made the change to this new regime and head coach, and you've got Drake May leading the way, he's maybe a little bit boring personality-wise, but I think of the two quarterbacks, he's the better of them. And when I start looking at teams, I look at head coach, I look at quarterback, I just feel comfortable with what the Patriots are going to be able to do.
Man, I think the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks has something to say about that. I'm going to pick Seattle 28-24. I'll go real quick here. I love the hype around the Patriots. I love the thought of Drake May and Mike Vrabel. I love the turnaround that they've had in New England. But you're never going to catch me putting the Patriots in the win column in any scenario. Okay, so I'm going with Seattle. I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. All right, guys, coming up, the calendar has flipped to February. Unbeknownst to me, I literally thought it was January today. What does it mean? It means baseball is back. We're getting you ready for spring training and a whole lot more. That's next.
Well, they're going to hit the ground running. No getting used to a manager. No, a manager getting used to the players. He's been there for 8 years. He knows everybody, what makes everybody successful. They know him. You know, things might be a little more rigid from a discipline standpoint with Walt because he's a little more hard line than Snit was. But I don't think you'll see that much of a difference.
All right, celebrate, Braves fans, because you have pitchers and catchers reporting down there in Florida next week. Braves Hall of Famer Chipper Jones doesn't anticipate a whole lot of change manager to manager, but you know what? There's a lot of new faces on this coaching staff that people need to get used to, and I'm not talking about Walt Weiss because, as Chipper mentioned, we know who this guy is. He's been a part of the Braves for a long time. But what do you have expectations for when it comes to the coaching staff and the team, home team?
Get this team to the playoffs. And it is a good blend when you talk about having a guy who's been in the organization for 8 years, but being the guy a seat over. Sometimes he's been watching and he had some things that might have been different, and it wasn't his time to say so. Now it's his time to say so. If somebody is not doing the things behind the scenes he doesn't like, it's his time to say so. So obviously, Alex Anthopoulos believes that this is a playoff team. They didn't go out and make major upgrades to the roster and go out and spend gobs of money. So they believe last year was a one-off, an incredibly awkward season where nobody could hit for multiple stretches of the season. And so getting to the postseason is just the bottom line. And I don't think now it matters if you do it winning the division or being a wild card team, just getting to the postseason and having that opportunity to make the run to another World Series.
And injuries have been such a big issue for this team, not just last year, but the year prior as well. So if these guys are healthy, right, already too. I know, probably as we're talking, we're also jinxing somebody else. This is how it works with the Braves team. But if they can stay healthy, this is a postseason team without a doubt in my mind. Now, one thing that a lot of people are doubting is whether or not the baseball season will even happen next year. Here's Chipper's thoughts on that.
The owners are probably getting, it's my feel anyway, that the owners are getting painted into a corner where they're going to have to lock the players out at some point. We, as a group with the Players Association, have never agreed to a salary cap. I don't see it happening this time, so you could be looking at a pretty long holdout or lockout, if you will.
Man, Caleb, a lot of people believe that this lockout is inevitable. And so what that means for those of you not following is baseball would not be played next season until obviously a deal could be reached. Money is a big issue in baseball right now, and it does seem as though the players and the owners are going to have to find some common ground, and it may not happen. What are the odds a lockout actually happens next year?
Yeah, I think it's highly likely because you found yourself in a position. Look, I don't think we would have this conversation had the Dodgers not won the World Series. And they were inches away from it being the Blue Jays, and maybe this wouldn't be as big of a discussion. They did, however, they do have that massive payroll. They do have all these deferrals, and then they brought in more talent in the offseason. And so that's making people irate, and the conversation is being had on television, and it's kind of being thoroughly discussed. And so it feels like they're getting to a position where now they have the fans on board of we do need a salary cap because this is how, you know, the most competitive teams can be out there. And I think Braves fans might feel this way as well, even though of like, you know, so we're not just one opportunity to win and then, oh, we've got to look at the Dodgers putting together a dynasty. It's an unfortunate, kind of situation.
You can't have all the can'ts. You can't have one organization deferring billions of dollars of money and paying one guy $700 million, and then the Pirates not paying anybody, or the Rockies not paying anybody. You can't have teams that have TV deals that are paying them millions of dollars, and then multiple teams that don't have TV deals that are lucrative. There are just too many can'ts, and unless something miraculous happens over the next few months, I think the reality is the owners are preparing to lock out the players, and we may have a delay at the very least of baseball next year.
I'll tell you what, whenever you're the Dodgers and you're paying a player more than anybody on the payroll for the Miami Marlins total, that is a big issue, and baseball has to find some kind of common ground. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen next year, which is very unfortunate. So enjoy baseball while it lasts, not to be pessimistic. Let's move on to the Hawks. They are trading, and it is going to happen. Vik Krejci to the Trailblazers for a guy who is out for the rest of the year, Duop Reith, and 2 future first-round picks. Thoughts on the move, Caleb? What does it mean?
Yeah, this is just a situation where when they traded for Corey Kispert, and that was a part of the Trae Young deal, you had the same kind of player. You had a three-point shooter, and you didn't need more of that. Vik Krejci, just an incredible person, but often when you start talking about a person's personality instead of his play on the court, that leads you towards what has happened. And this is just a situation where the Hawks can free up a roster spot, and maybe they bring up Christian Koloko from a two-way deal to the roster, or maybe this frees up some options for this upcoming week's trade deadline that a move can be made.
As a reminder, NBA trade deadline is Thursday at 3 o'clock. Now I want to skip ahead to the fact that Quinn Snyder has caught a lot of heat from Hawks fans this year. Home team, do you think it's warranted? Yes or no?
What is his strength? What does he do? What can we count on Quinn Snyder when the chips are down and we need the Hawks to have this? What is it? I don't know. Ansi Saleh has not yet had the complete chance to have his team. Our new GM has come in with coaches and players that are already here. His first big move, I don't want Trae around here for a long time. What's his next big move? Is it somebody at the free agent deal or the free agent signing at the end of the year? Is it your draft pick that could be a top 4 pick? And is it this coach? I don't know the strength of Quinn Snyder. I don't know if Ansi Saleh knows that either, and maybe he's waiting to put together the right group of guys to get him. But right now, until we can figure out what he does best or why he is the guy that can get the Hawks to a championship level, I can't answer that question.
It does feel like a lot of I don't know around the Hawks right now. There's a lot of, this could be a move in place, or they could move this guy around. This is just a hodgepodge of a roster that we've seen kind of made up over the last couple of years. So we'll see whether or not that criticism continues to be warranted here as the NBA season continues. Coming up, though, we've got the Winter Olympics right here on 11 Alive starting next week. I'm going to quiz my guests on what they know about the games, and I want you guys to play along at home. That's next. We are your home for all things Winter Olympics right here on 11 Alive, and I'm not very confident in our Winter Olympic skills, although I will say I played hockey a couple weeks ago. Did you guys see that?
I saw the Gladiators.
Yeah.
You did well.
Well, you're going to see whether I did well the whole time. I showed you the highlights, okay?
Stayed upright.
I did. I never fell. I was very close one time because I got a little confident out there, but I did not eat it, which is all that is important. Guys, how excited are you for the Olympics?
I think it's always fun. You get to see great storylines, people win medals, and snow and ice where it belongs at the Olympics, not on 285.
We could have made the Winter Olympics here in Atlanta over the last week and a half, right?
True
Caleb?
enough. Yeah, well, I think food goes on the brain for me, and my wife always makes Olympic cupcakes around this time. Takes the little M&Ms and
cool.
Builds the rings and does the whole bit. And so maybe home team, you bring ahead. I'll have her bring some cupcakes.
Caitlin knows what's up. So there's rings on each cupcake. That's pretty legit.
No, puts them all together,
cool.
ices the whole thing, and then makes the Olympic rings.
Nice.
She knows what's going on, and they might know what's going on. We're going to play a little bit of trivia when it comes to the Winter Olympic Games. You guys play at home. Home team, you're going to get this first question, okay? It's multiple choice.
All right.
Who was the most decorated American Winter Olympian of all time? Shaun White, Peekaboo Street, Apollo Ono, or Bonnie Blair?
Give me Apollo Ono. He was all over everything. I just remember him on TV and on my timelines. Apollo Ono.
Caleb, you think he's right?
Yeah, because Shaun White, I recognize his name obviously a lot more, but I feel like there's less events for snowboarding than there were for the speed skating events. 8
medals, 2 gold, 2 silver, and 4 bronze medals to Apollo Ono. Ding, ding, ding. You guys got that right.
There we go.
All right, true or false? Ice hockey was initially a summer Olympic sport, Caleb.
This feels like a trick question, but I'm going to stick with my gut of false, because who is playing ice hockey in the sun?
It's actually true.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
In 1920 in Antwerp, Belgium, they had it in the Summer Olympic Games because the Winter Olympics did not exist yet. The first year for them was 1924 in Chamonix, France, and then they switched over to the winter, which is such a fun trick question. Okay, what is the only city to host both Summer and Winter Olympics, home team? Paris, Beijing, Munich, or Barcelona?
Let's go with Paris.
Okay,
They
Caleb?
ski there. They play sports there.
Beijing.
Beijing is right. Paris is a good guess, though. I kind of
Yeah.
understand the line of thinking.
Right.
Okay, what is the fastest Winter Olympic sport on ice? Speed skating, luge, skeleton, or bobsled?
I'm gonna go luge because those things terrify me when I see them. All the camera
Really
angles
fast?
of them flying around the corner.
Yeah, home team?
I'm going to go with speed skating. When you turn those corners, you're moving at a high rate.
It's luge.
Right.
Well done, Caleb.
Okay.
They actually hit speeds of up to 90 miles per hour.
Yeah,
Can you
goodness.
believe that? It is literally the most terrifying thing. But it is so astonishing to watch these athletes work their whole lives for a moment that we get to show you right here on 11 Alive. We are fired up for the games, and they're going to study a little bit more. We'll be right back. All right, in case you missed it, at 3 o'clock in the morning, Carlos Alcaraz beat Novak Djokovic to win the Australian Open. Insane stuff. It was his first Australian Open title, which completes a career Grand Slam for the 22-year-old. This is such an incredible career in the making. You guys, what did you think about this win?
Well, you know, you walk that line when you're trying to catch the greats, and you do that, get your Grand Slam before you're 25 years old. Djokovic has had a heck of a run, but that is a great start for a 22-year-old to knock off a great champion like he did.
Caleb, quick, we got 20.
It definitely makes you think about like what you were doing in your life at 22 years old. Definitely not
that.
beating a future like Hall of Famer. It's incredible.
Well done, Carlos. We're excited to see everything that you do in the future. And thanks for watching each and every Sunday. We'll see you in a couple weeks. We have an Olympic break, everyone. Enjoy the next couple weeks.